Excited to be here. I'm very excited to be loud and to be here today. At SFU, I too went here as a student many, many moons ago, and it brings back wonderful memories of learning and thinking big, and I am very thrilled to be here. I'd like to also begin today by acknowledging we're gathering on the traditional territories of the Coast Salish people, specifically the shared territories of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam and Kwantlen First Nations. I pay respect to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all elders here today. The start of the school year has always inspired a renewed feeling of hope, and this year we need that sense of hope more than ever. Les jeunes Canadiens sont particulièrement touchés par la pandémie. Les emplois d'été, les stages et les projets de fin d'études ont été annulés ou modifiés. Dès le début, notre gouvernement a jugé nécessaire d'aider les étudiants à traverser cette période difficile et sans précédent. In the spring, we introduced a comprehensive emergency support package for students. It included boosts to job programs, direct income support, increased financial assistance through the doubling of the Canada Student Grants Program, and a pause on student loan repayments. We heard loud and clear from students and young Canadians that they wanted jobs this summer. They didn't want a pandemic to stop them from kickstarting their careers, gaining valuable experience, and earning money. So we modernized and provided more funding to our Youth Employment and Skills Strategy, or what we call YES. We put the focus on creating more opportunities for youth who face barriers to employment and invested nearly $190 million in additional funding in order to help create 9,500 more work and training opportunities for young Canadians. Across the country, young Canadians have had access to these jobs in sectors like agriculture, health, and essential services, all integral to our country's COVID-19 response. So this is what leads me to Pivot 2020. Today, I'm pleased to announce that Pivot 2020, a YES project, is underway. This national research project received up to $11.6 million to provide urgently needed job and skills development opportunities to up to 1,500 youth who face barriers to employment. Congratulations. This is truly a collaborative effort managed by the Government of Canada, the Simon Fraser University's Morris J. Wask Centre for Dialogue, Youthful Cities, the Canadian Council for Youth Prosperity, O'Kane and Associates, Tamarack Institute, and the Canadian Urban Institute. Through this project, youth will gain experience in basic research and data analysis while working on national research projects designed to enhance Canada's COVID-19 economic and workforce recovery. They will also develop deep knowledge of their communities, create social infrastructure, and improve their capacity to engage. And in the longer term, Pivot 2020 will help youth overcome barriers to employment by giving them a leg up in the current and future labor markets. This will especially benefit vulnerable youth, women, Black, Indigenous, and racialized Canadians, and youth with disabilities. I'd like to congratulate all the partners involved in this exemplary project, which really embodies the spirit of YES. Now, while we're talking about jobs for young Canadians, I want to highlight this year's Canada Summer Jobs Program. We invested nearly $62 million in the program this year, which has led to more than 84,000 jobs and over 9,700 opportunities that are currently still available on our jobbank.ca. We introduced temporary flexibilities into this program in response to the pandemic, which included allowing employers to offer part-time positions through the fall, as well as the ability to adapt their projects and job activities to support essential services. Ces mesures ont aidé les petites entreprises, les organismes sans but lucratif locaux et les employeurs du secteur public à embaucher et à garder les jeunes travailleurs dont ils ont besoin pour continuer de fournir aux jeunes leurs services essentiels dans les collectivités de tout le Canada. Another important job program is the Student Work Placement Project. It gives real-world, hands-on work experience to post-secondary students across Canada. As part of our COVID-19 student support package, we invested an additional $266 million into the program to support up to 40,000 work placements for post-secondary students in vital sectors such as healthcare. And while these investments are a crucial pillar in how we are supporting the unique challenges faced by young people in our country, we also know we needed to do more. We recognize that many students still struggled for income this summer, and not everybody was able to find a job. That's why we introduced the Canada Emergency Student Benefit. This $1,250 per month benefit was available between May and August of this year for recent high school graduates, post-secondary students, and graduates who couldn't find work. And students with permanent disabilities and students with dependents received an additional $750 a month. To date, this benefit has provided income support to over 700,000 post-secondary students and recent grads. And we didn't stop there. To help students for the upcoming school year, we've eased eligibility requirements for the Canada Student Loans and Canada Student Grant Program to allow more post-secondary students to qualify for eligible grants this year. These changes included, as I said, doubling Canada Student Grants to $6,000 for full-time students and $3,600 for part-time students. To further support recently graduated students, we introduced a 6-month interest-free moratorium on the repayment of Canada student loans. This is providing relief to over 1 million students. And for those who may continue to need support repaying their loans come October, the Repayment Assistance Plan will be there to help. The uncertainty many young Canadians feel in these unprecedented times can be overwhelming. But in Canada, we look out for each other. Nous sommes déterminés à poursuivre les mesures que nous avons mises en place pour aider les étudiants pendant la pandémie et nous continuerons à soutenir tout le monde pendant la prochaine année scolaire. Projects like Pivot 2020 are part of that support, and I'd like to once again congratulate all the partners on making a real difference in the lives of young people. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Minister. And I sat there for the entire speech, regretting the fact that I said diversity inclusion when your title is, in fact, disability inclusion, so I'll correct the record now. That is a tremendous announcement. Thank you so much. For me, I remember meeting with who I'm about to present, along with previous President Andrew Petter, talking about the difficulties that students were going to face, especially this summer. And some of the ideas that came from right here at Simon Fraser University have been implemented in a multi-billion-dollar student package. So it's just been really great to see our government be so responsive so quickly in such a hard time to make sure that students have the resources that they need. And today is another example of that. My next job is to introduce SFU's new president and vice chancellor. I had a chance to work with Joy Johnson even before I was a member of parliament, when I was on the faculty at SFU here previously. Her ability to think about innovation and entrepreneurship, her background academically is impressive, but I think most notable, something that a lot of people don't know about the new president here at SFU, is that her background is in fact in nursing. She's a PhD in nursing. She was a professor of nursing, I believe at UBC. During a time where you have to start thinking about how you're going to provide resources to young people in a safe environment, I can't think of a better background for a university president to have. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming President Joy Johnson.
Thank you, Terry. You bet. I'm okay? Great. Thank you. Well, thank you so very much, Terry, that introduction. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Minister Qualtrough. I feel like we're having an SFU alumni reunion today, which is really exciting. I'm very, very pleased to be here this morning and to welcome you to this important SFU announcement. You know, when I was asked to become the president of Simon Fraser University, I have to say I was so honored, but I don't think any of us could have imagined that these would be the dynamics that we would be living in. So normally, at this time of year, you'd look around and this place would be teeming with students, people excited about going to class. And I think Terry and Carla, you could appreciate that, what the feeling would have been even a year ago. And indeed, these are unprecedented times. And at SFU, we're recognizing that our young people are facing incredible challenges. I have heard firsthand from our students about the barriers that they're facing. A lot of their summer jobs and part-time jobs have been eliminated, and they're struggling. Students are concerned about paying rent,
having the technology that they need to study remotely. And there are numerous challenges that they're facing, the stress and strain as well. So that's why SFU and other post-secondary institutions were so delighted this spring when, indeed, the Government of Canada announced a $9 billion emergency funding to support students. And that is why, as Canada's engaged university, Simon Fraser University is so pleased to be partnering with the Youthful Cities, the Canadian Council for Youth Prosperity, and other partners to deliver Pivot 2020. Led by our Morris J. Wask Centre for Dialogue, Pivot 2020 is going to engage hundreds of youth in national research projects designed to enhance Canada's COVID-19 economic workforce recovery. And I really want to thank the team who worked so hard to put this proposal together. Pivot is going to provide young people with valuable work experience, help them build their networks, and find meaningful employment in current and in future markets. Pivot's going to engage in research on the needs of youth and gather input on how to improve their cities. These areas of research are important to understanding how Canadian communities can thrive beyond the pandemic. I also want to say that I'm so thrilled that the Government of Canada has provided an additional $1 million in funding from the Information, Communications and Technology Council for 160 co-op positions specifically for SFU students. Co-op work experience is a valuable part of an SFU education, and it really prepares our students to pursue rewarding careers. And indeed, I was speaking to a few students who have benefited from co-op this morning. SFU is committed to continuing to work with governments and community partners to ensure that youth will overcome barriers to finding employment while also enabling them to stay in school. Supporting students and youth right now will not only benefit them, but I believe it's going to benefit Canada as a whole. So we need their ideas, we need their contributions and their enthusiasm as we recover and rebuild from the current crisis. So right now, they need us more than ever, just as the world is going to be needing them more than ever. So thank you, Minister Qualtrough, for your government support. Thank you, Terry, for being such a great partner for Simon Fraser University. We're now going to hear from a youth representative about what today's announcement means to her. Like all of us, Safa Khan had to pivot at the start of the pandemic. Safa is a recent graduate from the University of Toronto. She has a Master's of Education and over 9 years of experience working with youth. And most recently, she worked for Jack.org, a Canada Youth Mental Health charity, as the Alberta Program Coordinator. She's excited to be working with the Pivot 2020 as a City Coordinator for Edmonton and Yellowknife. So I'd like to pass the podium on to Safa. Safa, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I just want to start by saying thank you so much to President Johnson for the lovely introduction, and thank you so much to Minister Qualtrough and MP Beech for all of your support with Pivot 2020. Like President Johnson mentioned, I'm Safa, and I'm the City Coordinator, the Pivot 2020 City Coordinator for Edmonton and Yellowknife. Like many other young people, I had to pivot my life in the first few months of the pandemic, pun intended. While many things are still up in the air, joining Pivot 2020 felt like a great first step towards reimagining life and a new normal during and after the pandemic for young people across 27 Canadian cities. I'm so excited to be working with over 1,200 other young people across Canada from the comfort and safety of our own homes to help shape how cities come back from COVID and also use this process to learn and grow for a better future. I can't wait to see all the positive changes initiated by this team of creative, inventive, and curious young minds, and thank you so much for all of your support in this process. Thank you.
I'll stand away from the mic. All right, so that concludes the official part of the announcement. I want to thank Nick, who has been our audio guy, but also our podium and mic sanitizer. With that, I'll just queue up. We have a moderator for media based in Ottawa, and so I'll hand the floor over to you, and you can take care of the media availability.
Thank you very much. Like as Beech said, we will now move to the question portion of the event. One question and one follow-up. So we'll start with questions in the room if there are any, and then move to questions on the phone. With that, I'll now invite any media in the room to ask the first question.
Any questions in the room? No questions in the room, operator.
Got it. We'll now move to questions on the phone. Moderator, if there are any questions, please proceed.
Thank you. Please press star 1 at this time if you have a question. Once again, please press star 1 if you have a question. No questions registered at this time, so returning back over to you.
Thank you. With that, this concludes the event. Thank you.
Well, thank you all very much for perhaps the easiest press conference I've ever done in my political career.